Okay, I want to do a comparison between the Mambatek billet wastegate versus the BNR Forged wastegate. So, looking quickly at the Mambatek, it is a aluminum housing. Comes with a stainless steel shaft, which unscrews. The nuts that come with the Mambatek are steel, so is this nut. So if you want to avoid rust, you will need to upgrade these, which I have. The eye is also stainless steel, no rusting issues. Comes with, I think, 5 different spring rates for adjustability. Retails for approximately $140 to $150 online. The BNR Forged or brushed aluminum wastegate, as you can see, they have a similar size. There are some fundamental differences though. Obviously the brushed aluminum looks fantastic. Everything comes with it is stainless steel, high quality. So the nuts that come with it are a locking nut, high quality stainless steel, shaft stainless steel, the eye is stainless steel, the locking nut is stainless steel. Now, this shaft does not unscrew, and there is a reason why. And I'll go into this when I open the wastegates up and compare them. But looking from the outside, they look relatively similar, but the insides and how they function are what make them different. So before I open them up, one main functionality, once it is fully assembled, is the shaft. So this is a piston inside, which you'll see in a minute, and that's about as much play as it has. And if while opening the wastegate, if this is tweaked at all, it can actually, right there, that's taking the piston and it loses pressure, can causing some issues with holding boost. So there's 2 O-rings inside, and that piston will come away and there'll be a gap and it will lose some pressure. So you have to make sure when it's adjusted, if it's adjusted potentially too tight, it has the ability to have too much play. And if you're having some weird issues, that's potentially the reason why. So you have to have the right spring and the right preload on there. The BNR wastegate, I'll show you inside, fully swivels. And it's designed this way for this exact reason. So there's no issues with binding. And it's meant to move as the wastegate on the turbo opens, and potentially, because those can open, they don't open this way, they open with a slight, with a hinge, so it can actually pull a little bit as it does open. Okay, so outside, those are the main differences. Okay, so now having both of these opened, going into the differences mechanically. Fundamentally, they work both with a piston system. Okay, so this piston, driven by vacuum, pressure, and or boost pressure, controlled from the boost solenoid, will push this piston in and out. And this is what the shaft screws onto. Okay, as mentioned. Okay, so design-wise, it is a 90-degree piston, so there is no swivel. It does have some play, depending how old yours is, because the O-rings might be a little bit looser than others. So you might have some play in there. But if there's too much as it comes out, it will actually come away from the O-rings and potentially leak some pressure, having some issues then controlling the boost. Okay, so with the BNR wastegate, again, it is a piston system, but as you can see here, the main rod does not tie directly into the cylinder. This is also a 90-degree cylinder inside. Pressure pushes it in and out, which drives the shaft, which opens the wastegate. But as you can tell, this brass, and this is actually pretty heavy, it's solid brass. So no binding, it will never bind, have any issues, or lose any type of control of pressure as it's being opened. Okay? To adjust the wastegate, or sorry, to if you want to replace the spring, you'd have to unlock this nut, screw this off, and it slides off and take this washer off. Servicing them both with the proper grease, as you can tell, coming apart, it's pretty easy. You take the piston out, you apply the proper grease inside. Both of them seem to have lasted. I've had this for about 5 years, maybe even 6. I've had 2 of these actually, so over a year of working with both of them. So, and let's see here. That's where the grease goes in. Use high temperature grease. I think it comes with, let's see, if I remember correctly, like an assembly lube that they use from Forge. So performance differences. Fundamentally, they're both a wastegate. They do essentially the same thing. They both have springs. This is a little bit of a different progressive type of spring. Versus a straight spring, different tensions. There's different, you get like 6 on here, and you can actually buy different tensions. There's a heavier spring. It's available. What I found testing these extensively with data logs, again, they both will control boost. I found that with the BNR Forge wastegate, that the responsiveness of how quickly it allows it to hold pressure and build boost, even though, and this is dialing both wastegates in to the proper preload, so these comparisons are equal. So as boost is being building, it's being built to desired boost. The BNR Forge wastegate is a noticeable difference in responsiveness and how fast it allows it to spool, and the control. Now, the only factor I can think of the main difference is when the wastegate arm on the turbo is opening, there's a possibility that the Mambatek wastegate, as it opens, it's coming out and it's being pitched a little bit, losing a little bit of pressure. So even though the pressure's there, it can't quite hold the pressure as the wastegate is allowed to open. It can't quite hold, and it's bleeding a little bit of pressure out. Okay, not much maybe, but it is definitely a noticeable difference, and that's what I'm attesting, that probably the difference is that when you actually log it and you can feel it and you can see the responsiveness and the boost and how fast it spikes and how fast the RPMs are being built with the boost pressures being built. Overall, these are the core differences between the two wastegates mechanically. And as you can tell, there are some fundamental differences. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.